you have reached this pivotal moment of conscious awakening on the planet, and it's worldwide, whether it's through India. What it means is that your physical vessel start to vibrate a little faster and higher to bring in these refined light frequencies. And of course, we talk about deities who have to bring Ganesh, who I absolutely love. Ganesh always with us, working together. Yes, Ganesh is precious. I always have Ganesh with me.
Yes.
Always.
I'm a Ganesha devotee. And my
Always.
son is also working with him now in the next octave.
My physical body was created or engineered directly by the advanced light frequency holographic technology of the Arcturians. So I bring a lot of information to the Arcturians, the Andromedans, High Council of the Pleiades, working with others to understand the human journey, to understand the challenge on the planet. Through this quadrant assigned to the Milky Way, others will be assigned to the alliances of the scientists of all the multiverse. They have space station where.
So why is Earth so important at this point in the overall evolution from intergalactic perspective? Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. We have with us today Viviane Chauvet from the US. Viviane Chauvet is a renowned Arcturian ambassador and an evolved soul who leads global audiences through transformational activations that bridge galactic intelligence and human consciousness experience. She is a featured speaker at international conferences, award-winning documentaries, and high-level intergalactic initiatives. She brings frequencies, she initiates remembrance whenever she speaks, and her messages catalyzes awakenings. Her teachings shift realities. She is a leading voice in the global spiritual and extraterrestrial community, and she is an ascended Arcturian being in a holographic human form. She is a visionary creator of Arcturian energy matrix healing and Arcturian healing arts program, and founder of Arcturian University of Universal Consciousness. Very warm welcome, Viviane, on Multidimensional Soul Talk Show and podcast. Namaste. It's an honor to have you here.
The honor is all mine. Thank you so much for the kind invitation. And thank you for, having us today and to your beautiful audience.
So can we talk a little bit about your Arcturian connection? How did you get to know about it? Was there any spiritual awakening which led you to this knowing and remembrance? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, of course. So let's walk the path in terms of what exactly is my Arcturian connection. So I represent directly the Arcturian delegation. So I'm an Arcturian being, and because of the Earth imminent re-ascension energy in the new timeline coming up, I have chosen to serve Mother Gaia and, of course, Source, Infinite Source, by returning to the planet as an Arcturian being in a human hybrid form. And what that means, it means that my physical body was created or engineered directly by the advanced light frequency holographic technology of the Arcturians. And of course, we have collaborated with a very specific human lineage to allow me to have just enough human aspect in a template that will allow me to connect or create a more direct heart energy connections to the planet and to the human race. And so therefore, once the template, the vessel was ready, then my consciousness entered the vessel and I was returned to the earth so I can be here on the planet. As an Arcturian being, I felt that it would be more effective to have a direct presence physically on the planet rather than maintain my original Arcturian self. The thing is, I am a point of liaison between the intergalactic groups and humanity. And so I bring a lot of information to the Arcturians, the Andromedans, High Council of the Pleiades, working with others to understand the human journey, to understand the challenge on the planet, to understand the dynamic of what this third dimensional matrix reality is really about. And being able to provide that kind of information and feedback directly from my own experiences and interactions in a way that allow us to redirect how we're going to guide. What is it that is needed? What teaching, guidance, what form of direct assistance can we provide? So I speak in a way on behalf of humanity, in a way that is through direct my experiences. And so in a way you can say that I educate the intergalactic beings to understand what it is like to embody or to be on this planet and to go through the changes, whether it's consciousness, energy, opening the awareness, what it feels like to meditate here, what it is to be in these physical vessel, these body, and so forth and so forth. So this is why when we speak, you will hear me say as a we. That's because I speak directly with them and for them. And that's the beauty of it. Is we bring in all the frequencies and the energy that we exchange with everyone.
Wow, that's amazing. You talked about a very detailed process, and it's fascinating that your DNA and consciousness was getting ready on the Arcturus, and then you came here in the physical vessel and probably chose your birth parents on Earth. So, can you talk a little bit more in depth about the DNA? Because what I understand is humans are also hybrid many years, thousands of years back. I understand that extraterrestrials came here, and this was kind of an experiment. And this is what I have heard, that planet Earth was an experiment, and humans are also hybrid. And our DNA is currently two strand, but as we are ascending, it is going to be different. So, what's the Arcturian DNA like, and how did this entire process work? Can you just talk about that?
Of course, I love your multi-layered question. So let's see if we can approach one layer at a time. So in terms of DNA and the difference, when I use the word hybrid, it's a placeholder. The word hybrid, how it applies to me is that physically my body is a prototype. That means that this body was specifically engineered for my lifetime here on the planet in a way that allows a high frequency being to be in a vessel that can still coexist and maintain itself here. So what I mean by that is that Arcturians, we are very high vibrational, high frequency being. We're more ethereal than we are physical. So because my consciousness wanted to re-enter a very step down the frequencies that we call the third density, and into a middle timeline known as the third dimensional matrix reality, the gravity of the planet is very non-conducive for us. It's too dense. It's like saying, I'm going to send you and drop you at the bottom of the ocean so you can go talk to life that coexists thousands of feet down. Your vessel is not equipped for that. You don't have the lungs capacity and all of it. So it's the same thing with us. So instead of sending out a fragment of my soul consciousness, that what most starseed do, they send out a fractal of themselves, and then they will reincarnate into a human baby born into a family lineage. In my case, it was different. I was not born on the planet. I came about on one of our Arcturian advanced mothership. Why? because we have to use our technology to make sure that my body would survive. There was no guaranteed that the body will survive the genetic combination of a very, very advanced race with a human lineage. And we did choose the human lineage that we have been interacting with for a very long time. It took us a long time to, how can I say that, create a relationship first. And we just don't come and take DNA. We establish a relationship. So we mean they talk to my grandparents, my grandparents, and then what my parents or the souls who were chosen and accepted to raise a hybrid child, there's been a lot of communication. So it's a relationship, it's an exchange. And then the agreement was made that we will just take an aspect of the gene pool of that lineage in order for me to have a deeper root of connection to the planet and to be able to have here a connection. So to do that, it's a very complex and yet a beautiful conscious approach. So in my sense, the DNA that you speak of, my DNA carry what's called the memo groups of my Arcturian group, my Arcturian self. So my DNA has all these very, very packed information or genetic information in regards to my genetic Arcturian self with the base code of some of the human gene pool, so I can have that connection. Think of it as my human gene pool is my anchor to the planet, okay? So, but in reality, the way my DNA is made is that it is super packed with genetic information or light encoding that reflect and contain the full aspect of my Arcturian self. Okay, so this is why it's what we call the memo groups, and those memo groups relate to my intergalactic self. Now, in regards to the DNA of humanity, yes, the Earth, think of this planet as a garden of life, right? Where a original primate form of life, or the early stages of the early Earth humans, and then yet there are many intergalactic conscious groups like the Lyrans, Sirians, Pleiadians, and many other groups who have contributed to their own gene pool, or what's called genetic markers, within the already established original DNA template of the human race at its early stage of development. So of course that has really accelerated that growth of that evolution. The difference in the terms of hybrid is that when you look at human beings or Earth humans, is that the Earth humans were designed to live and exist on this planet. I come from another planet, a complete different dimensional reality. I come from a civilization who has already reached enlightenment and advancement thousands and thousands of years ago. So I am designed to live in a higher dimensional state, as opposed that I'm not originating from the original human gene pool of this planet. So the word hybrid really applies in very different circumstances, as you can see. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So human DNA is 2-strand, Arcturian DNA is 12-strand, or how is it?
No, and thank you for mentioning that. So the 2-strand DNA that we hear a lot about is the step, think of it as the reduced, limited version of the original human DNA. The human DNA has always been designed to be a 12-strand, or it's called a 6 double helix configuration. So because of a lot of different factors throughout the Earth history, let's just say that some other groups of ETs or star beings who have technology or may lack the consciousness that comes with the technology thought that they will be superior and says, we're going to reduce that original 12-strand into a 2-strand, because then the human race at its early conception will be more docile, more, easier to manipulate, or, being able to, let's say, redirect humanity in a way that it was counter nature to who they were designed to be. But that's a big, big, long story within the Galactic Akashic Records. The point here that is important to remember is that you have reached this pivotal moment of conscious awakening on the planet. And it's worldwide, whether it's through India, whether it's through England, Europe, New Zealand, US, Canada, everywhere, and even Asia, there's an awakening. That awakening can start to bring in a higher sense of frequencies. What it means is that your physical vessel start to vibrate a little faster and higher to bring in these refined light frequencies. So to make it simple, higher consciousness awakening, higher state of frequencies will accelerate your vibrational rate. And that means it directly impacts the evolution of your DNA. And your DNA start to reawaken to its original structure. And that means that your body is also shifting into a more light body.
Yeah. So, yes, I understand that what we call as a junk DNA or the dormant is not really junk at all. And as we are awakening, we are going to get into crystalline nature of DNA and 12-strand DNA as such that yes. So you talked about your role in the intergalactic body, or is it confederation, or what is your role exactly? Is it like an ambassador kind of a role, galactic ambassador? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So my galactic ambassadorial role, first, we are part of the Arcturus. We have a delegation group that will speak on our behalf, representing the galactic alliances of world and many representing many different species throughout the multiverses. Think of it as, I don't know if you know this series Star Trek. You know, they have the Federation or the United Nations, or here the United Nations. But it's something very similar, as you may be familiar with, of course, naturally. But it's a good image to have. So there's many star nations or group consciousness, many sentient life forms, and they send delegates, and we connect with each other. Some of them will be assigned to overseas the evolution through this quadrant, assigned to the Milky Way. Others will be assigned to the alliances of the scientists of all the multiverse. They have space station where many scientists representing different homeworld or star system collaborate to understand the fauna of the flora of different planets, how species evolve, how consciousness move to different plants or different other form of life. Others will be more physicians or advanced form of healers. They specialize either in terms of the physical template or the etheric one, or the advanced holographic technology to be able to rejuvenate the form. Others have working with our star regency councils. So for example, the structure aligning with the Earth evolution, there's many intelligent sentient group or star nations that oversee the evolution of the Earth. And what it means that first we're looking at how the timelines are moving, how humanity, along with all life on the planet, whether it's the animal consciousness, the plant nations, the minerals, the tree nations, it's Gaia herself as a living being, how life is thriving on the planet. So we see these emanation of energy coming from the planet. We decode those emanation or wavelength of energy coming from the planet, and it gives us a good idea in terms of what are we looking at. Is there a resistance? Is there an expansion? Is there a shift moving into one dimensional aspect or another? And of course, the solar influence that also coming into the electromagnetic field of the planet. How is it influencing human electromagnetic field? Your living aura, your DNA, all aspects of you and the body ley line. So we are relaying different form of information that allows us to understand what stages of evolution are you in and what level of spiritual enlightenment guidance support can we do. Plus, you have all the star seed on the planet that is also on a huge awakening process. And so we have more now conscious, aware point of contact where we can interact at various space and time and moment on the planet to be able to bring the influence. I hope that makes sense too.
Yes, yes, definitely. So when you talk about doing this role as an ambassador and you have meetings with these intergalactic bodies, how do you usually do it? Is it in terms of astral travel, or have you physically traveled to any spaceship or any planet, or how do these things happen?
Yes, so usually when I am asked to do some of my roles off planet, so with my Arcturian father, I can go physically directly on board. And that means that that physical vessel will be in rejuvenation, and they're making sure that my body is also sustained, rejuvenated, and they have to make sure that my body remain functional and healthy. Because no matter how much I do here with vitamins and supplement and good food and organic food, there's so much nutrients I can get here on the planet. So I need more than that. And so that's where my Arcturian group is taking care of my physical form. They are helping me to rejuvenate. Usually what happens is that I will release my consciousness and re-embody my Arcturian self. And then if we have to go to meet with a delegates or a group of other ambassadors that represent different home worlds, or we have a meeting with a council or the spiritual hierarchy with the masters of light, it's usually I do it in my Arcturian original form, not my human form.
Okay, so you have another body on the Arcturus, and you enter that while doing probably by doing astral travel in meditation in the dream state, and then you use that vessel for meetings and all the work that you're doing. Wow,
That's
that's
right.
fascinating. Okay.
I do. Yeah. Remember, this vessel is for the earth
Yeah.
because in the intergalactic civilization group or the community, whether it's Federation of Alliances, many councils, or other group we meet with, they know who I am. They understand that I am an Arcturian being who is currently on a sacred mission on the planet. They never address me as a human. To you, I look like a human. So you will say, why are you a human looking and but your soul is an ET? I would say, yes, in a certain way.
Yeah, no, I understood. I myself have seen myself as a multidimensional soul, and that's why the name of my podcast is that. I have been on
Yes,
many star systems,
of
and
course.
Arcturian is one of them. But yeah, I have the soul remembrance of, like you said, having the fractal here. So I am kind of a fractal in this body, projected consciousness. So, but yours is different. And I have also had Venusians on my podcast. So, Robert Potter, Dr. Ray, and then Anya. And then they had talked about Omnic Onik, who is actually not earthborn at all. So, we have many different forms, so to say, of physical vessel, and that's why it's very fascinating to learn that you have a vessel here and you actually kind of go there and come back. So why is earth so important at this point in the overall evolution, from intergalactic perspective?
It's a fantastic question, and I can tell that you're a beautiful multidimensional being serving in this beautiful human form on the planet. So we're very grateful to have you, for sure. Very grateful. Thank you. So, why is Earth so important from an intergalactic perspective, where this Earth, or we lovingly nickname the Earth the Blue Pearl. So Mother Gaia, or the Blue Pearl, is a very rare planet where so many different species can coexist in a very specific ecosystem. And if you look throughout the planet, there are so many different ecosystems, whether it's the desert, tropical islands, whether it's, different type of, life, how many species of trees there are, it's beyond our counts, how many species of bees or insect, the diversity of humanity spread throughout the planet in many continents, representing also different intergalactic origin and cosmic, heritage that you bring. So Gaia, or the Earth, actually is a fractal, a fragment of the reminiscence of a very advanced planet that used to vibrate and coexist in the higher dimensional realm. Yes, this is part of the galactic archives. But long story short, something happened to the planet and it was destroyed. And by the force of the explosion, a fragment of this original planet was relayed into a descended form, pushed into the third density. And over time, this fragment became the Earth. So on the intergalactic levels, we understand and remember the original planet. And we know all of them spiritually enlightened beings across the multiverses understand the importance of what a planet represents. It's a deep tragedy when we see a planet destroyed for many reasons, whatever that is. And so it affects the ripple effect even to the quantum space for a very long time. So that fragment came into a lower density that we know her now, has evolved. And this is why there's so many beings, so many advanced council, like the Lyran Council, the High Council of the Pleiades. We also help to bring this planet into a higher resonance. And so many, many other intergalactics. We have seen the potential of this Earth returning as a garden of life, if you look at it this way. And so when the original human form were introduced to the planet and then evolve, and then with the DNA changes and the consciousness evolving, one of the things that we knew is that within the Earth archives, there's still a memory of what took place to the original aspect of the planet, what it used to be in a higher dimensional state. So one of the things I personally always felt, even as a child, I've always felt a deep planetary sadness, like a grief. And I remember at the early stages of my presence on the planet, I would tell my delegation and my Arcturian father, I can help feeling this deep sadness. It's almost like it's imprinted in my soul. And that's what he explained to me, that, over time we're going to help to heal that resonance field that is still in the Earth crystalline archive, that the planet remember that she became present or evolved as a planet or celestial being because of that fragment that was pushed back from the original aspect of this planet. So one of the things I've done is, along with many groups, is to heal and clear that deep sadness, that grief that was existing in the blueprint of the Earth, and especially in her crystalline core. And that sadness have been influencing, of course, the global consciousness. So we have been really working diligently with the Earth and with directly our archives to clear that deep grief and to allow Gaia to re-expand. So one of the things that we wanted to prevent is to have history, so to speak, repeating itself. We want to make sure that this time, this planet, who have flourished and, of course, sustained so many diversity of life, will be preserved and allowed to return into her original octaves of evolution, her original self. So the Earth represents also a model. It's an example that will be mirrored back to other star systems and other planets. There are other species who are at just about the same level of evolution, or sometimes they're one octave down, a little bit lower frequencies. So at the same time, the Earth think of it as a textbook that will be replicated as a blueprint to help others. And how can we, as a species and as a planet, who step down so low in the frequencies and the experience of duality and polarization, can return it to a point of integration and re-elevation? So there's so many life at stake, so to speak. There's so many energy. The potential is huge, and it's also what it represents for the future timeline of other species and other planets. So there's a lot going on, so to speak.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. I knew that Earth is important from intergalactic dynamics perspective, but this when you said that there are other planets in similar octave, and the Earth evolution, consciousness evolution, will be used as kind of a role model, as an example or a case study for others, then there is a huge responsibility on all of us to kind of ascend and move into unity consciousness. Majority of the problems on Earth happen because of karma and free will. These, I understand, are very unique to Earth as a planet. There are other star systems where there is no free will. That's what I understand. And there are differences, like here what happens is going through the cycles of birth and death, and that karmic cycles, the humans kind of get entangled in that, and that is why they're stuck in the 3D paradigm and the third density, as in the lower density. When we look at the other planets and other star systems, what difference is there as against the Earth? And what I understand is, as we are ascending, the entire karmic cycle and this entire cycle only is going to end, and this matrix is going to end. So, what is your understanding about that?
And those are really wonderful questions and very potent. So it is true that at some point in history, there's been, how could I say that, a synergy where soul got a little bit trapped, so to speak, in a reincarnation cycles. And there's many reasons for that. It's step down in frequency, it's the feeling of disconnect from infinite source or all there is. There's other factors also of other souls, the younger souls who have come from different regions and learning. One of the big effect of it is also around the constellation of Orion. Orion as a realm has a huge impact in these incarnation cycles. If we look a little bit of galactic history, how it has been influencing the solar system and the Earth and humanity, of course, we have to look at the different perspective of what certain of these star races have brought. So, for example, you have a founder race. The founders have, they're the one to give birth, so to speak, to an aspect of the Lyrans. Then the Lyrans take it over, and then they give birth through different branches of other beings. They have influenced the Sirius realm. They have influenced, how an aspect of the Sirians became involved and engaged into Orion, and how Orions, with all the conflict. So the thing is that from a point of experiential, souls have come here to learn. It's all experiences. And so there was a certain curiosity to understand what physical limitation in a third density would be like. What would be the lesson behind it? There's also many of these souls who brought forth a sense of non-completion, conflict, inner war, remembrance of galactic conflict or on other planets or different dimensional time and space, different timeline. Orion is bringing these karmic lessons. And what are these karmic lessons? It's about how we navigate through polarity and how we're able to bring ourselves from a point of polarization back into integration. This is part of what the Lyrans are really teaching humanity, is that triangle of integration. You can experience negativity, polarization of opposite is super positive energy, but we have to bring ourselves back into that reintegration point. So we're avoiding ourselves to live our life like a roller coaster. I'm super joyful. I want to be super happy, always positive all the time. But then there's a counterpart, because of the polarization, says you have to feel and experience a counterpart of this peak, as opposed to navigate closer to a 0 point, or what's called divine neutrality. Right. And so the more human beings cultivate this state of integration, release themselves from the identity of the third dimensional personality matrix, and start to re-identify on the soul matrix, which is the higher fifth dimensional energy, you start to reintegrate those 0 point, start to naturally and organically take point. So that means it's genetically releasing that polarization through your ancestors, the lineage you reincarnate into. What is the lesson of that lineage, or that cultural background, or that societal background you're in? And then therefore, when you start to open like a lotus flower, you start to understand a full spectrum of who you are. And this is where the multidimensional aspect of you start to come in. And many people remembers aspects of themselves in Atlantis or Lemuria, or on other planets or other dimensional space, or in different form. They start to reintegrate these soul aspects of themselves, and they understand how it applies to this lifetime, because it all comes down of how do you live your life here. It is important in the here and now. This time cycle is the one that we're giving an opportunity to clear ourselves out of these reincarnation karmic cycles, as well as we can release our lineage and our genetic markers, even encoded in ourselves, from these cycles, and on a planetary level, allowing the Earth to release that third density version personality self, and being able for the Earth to return into a higher celestial and ascended self. This is what we talk about, the timeline shifting, and the consciousness is going to dictate personally, meaning individually, collectively, and on a planetary level. What timeline are you more in resonance with? Here's another good news. There's no wrong or right, or black and white, or dark and light. It's really understanding what is the soul has come to learn. It's about soul development. It really is. It comes down to the soul advancement. And certain soul groups will continue to evolve within a similar model of third density. We see that beyond this solar system. We see other planets in other star systems, and even constellation and in the multiverse, where these civilizations have reached a level of more unified third density evolution. But that's perfect for them. And then we look at the Earth humans, you are at different various stages. Some of you are higher, you pass the third, you move through the fourth, it's just a bridge. A fourth density is just a bridge. And then you start to embracing the qualities of what a higher fifth dimensional being is about. You start to embody more unity consciousness. You start to release the barriers. You clear the trauma. You start to feel that you're much more at peace. You accept yourself. You love yourself. You see your worth, your uniqueness. You start to really raise in that level, and it changes your entire reality. It changed the fabric of this paradigm.
Oh, yeah. And it's fascinating to know that there is a third density unification also on other planets. So, can you talk a little bit about other planets and star systems? How are they? Is there free will on other planets also, or Earth is unique in that? And how is the evolution? How, what density and what dimension are all of those in? So can you just touch a little bit upon that?
Yes, let's take a beautiful journey through a bit of construct of what we call creation. So I'm going to go on a more larger scale to go back into more planetary scale to answer the question. And it's a journey we're going to take together. So I love this. So if you look at a concept that ultimately, whether you call yourself a multidimensional being, an Earth human, an Arcturian ambassador, whether you're a Lyran being, a Venusian, an Antares, ultimately we all come from that unified one prime creator, all there at infinite source of life, the source of creation. And there's no label, there's no religion, it's well beyond all of it. It's all of us. And that's how with the masters, whether it's Master Buddha, beautiful goddess Lakshmi, whether it's, the others, beautiful energies of deities, we all part of that one creation. Okay, so we look at the one holographic, one dimensional, all there is infinite source. Now, infinite source start to explore like the branch of an infinite tree of life. And of course, we talk about deities. I have to bring Ganesh, who I absolutely love. Ganesh always with us, working together. Yes, Ganesh is precious. I always have Ganesh with me.
Yes.
Always.
I'm a Ganesha devotee. Yes.
Mhm.
And my
Always.
son is also working with him now in the next octave. He's in
Oh,
12th dimension, but he's gone to higher octave now. Yeah.
I always have Ganesh with me. And Lakshmi. I also very close to Lakshmi. She's very, very dear to my heart. Wow, this is incredible. No wonder you felt the call to, you know, be with each other and exploring so many beautiful universal. And that brings me back to universal aspect. Well, we all coming back. So I love to utilize the analogy of the universal tree of life. It is representing, it's a symbology of creation itself. So creation starts to expand in many branches. Those branches will be what's called plane of existence. Each plane of existence will carry countless dimensional space. And through the dimensional space, this is where opportunity for soul exploration, learning take place. So within these branches, there will be different density of experience. We talk about a 12 dimension. There's a 13, 15, 24th. We see beings vibrating at a 24th level. And the Aquarian, they're a group of what you would call aquatic beings, but they are vibrating on a 24th dimension. So that's the beauty of it. This is really reflecting how infinite we truly are, as opposed to be limited to what I was born in, my lineage, my family, what is the obligation, the expectation from me as a human. Well, that expectation is just a fractal of your experiences. You can embrace it and say, thank you for the lessons learned, the wisdom earned. Now I am ready to shift beyond that. What else can I learn? What else my soul is here to embrace? So if you're looking again at this huge creation tree of life with dimensional plane of existence. So what we are here, it's called the physical plane of reality or plane of existence. That plane of existence has many degrees of dimension experience. So the third density is really much the plane of experiencing limitation, fragmentation. It's experiencing what a fractal self means or the lower self. Sometimes it is called the egoic self. We prefer the term third dimensional personality self. There's no judgment to it. It's just an experience. It's an understanding. The thing about it is that soul sometimes identifies so well to that little identity, yet important, so identified to it that you remember. Sometimes people sometimes people feel that this little tiny grain and they feel powerless. What can I do? But you are this immense being and you think you're this small. So this is why when we look at the evolutions of other species or group consciousness evolved as a species, like the Earth humans or the Antares that reached more higher 7-dimensional aspect, or the Andromedan, and there's many groups of Andromedans. Some of them are even beyond the Andromeda galaxy. Some of them are very, very ancient beings. They're architect of light, engineers. They create blueprint to help other group consciousness to evolve within these blueprints. This is how much we are interconnected. It's a paradigm within a paradigm within another paradigm. And when we start to reopen again, like a lotus flower, instead of this little bud in the middle, this is the 3D personality experience of yourself. My name is, this is my story, this is what I believe in. Okay, perfect, we honor that. Open the petal, and you discover that you're allowing more light of your being coming through. Oh, I have a branch here. I have a branch in the Andromeda. I discovered that if I look at the total of my lotus flower, I'm a multidimensional being experiencing many branches of experience and expression. And yet, it is the same being. You are the same soul, the same group soul you're experiencing. So Creator is experiencing with you as that fragment or that fractal of expression. Arcturians, we're part of this. We just, let's just say, as evolved over millions of years, we are very, very ancient, and we simply have understood certain of these concepts from a perspective that is outside of your 3D box of reality. We coexisting with you along with other many sentient life form, many form of intelligence, like the masters coexisting with us, or being a fractal of expression of a master. And you bring that mastery back here, you bring that compassion, you bring that soul multidimensional awakening. It's a great gift, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about different timelines existing on Earth right now. And what I understand is there is going to be a split, and you briefly touched upon that some souls who have chosen not to ascend and to experience the third density and continue this experience will continue in that. So, can you talk a little bit about the Earth split? Is it going to be physical split? Is it going to be a vibrational split? Are we already on the higher timeline? Has the split already occurred? Because some say that it is happening right now as we are talking. And right now, you can choose whether to go on 5D or to stay in 3D. Some say that some of us have already ascended and the split has already happened. So, what is your understanding about all of that?
Absolutely, what another beautiful question. And it is, you are correct about everything is unfolding now. It's not because our physical senses may perceive it differently. It's just a level of perspective. Everything is unfolding. You can feel it even in the core of the planet. There are palpable dimensional shifts unfolding in ourselves, the way our body is shifting, the way our chakra system is evolving, the way our DNA is thriving, the feel as a spark of light reactivating the codons within ourselves. Our crystalline core, it's been calling at a soul level to bring back our willpower, our sovereignty, to see ourselves in the true light of who we are. Now, without being said, to your point, it is true that there are soul groups. There are groups of souls who, for their own evolution and their benefits, so to speak, will be allowed to continue to evolve on a similar third density timeline as we are now. And this is the middle timeline. Whether they're more seduced through technology, they want to explore in different ways. Some of these souls may also have an opportunity to bring to full completion some unfinished lessons, like from Orion. There's other soul coming in who remember the AI intelligence that existed in the time, but they also remember the conflict around it. They may be coming also from species who have so much identified with technology that it disconnected from source. And then they have de-evolved at that level, and some of these souls have returned here to either attempt to recreate a similar mechanism, but maybe with the intention to this time it will be evolving differently, or this time we're going to be able to make a difference or integrate consciousness into AI, or we're going to be able to integrate different form of consciousness, and they think they can recreate that paradigm here. And we see that those souls have come back, they're brilliant minds. However, they oftentimes lack compassion. They are disconnected from the heart center. And I have clients who are business people, some of them very wealthy than others, who have had meetings with these very brilliant minds, these beautiful people, the souls who remember what they have done in previous incarnation on other star system and other planets, and they think they can recreate that paradigm or that mechanism here. So we need to understand really much where this is coming from and where this is going. So the timeline on the 3D density to technology, AI, all of it, it's not going as far as it is led to believe. Med beds and all of this. This is part of the learning of the third density. This is what we call a third dimensional approach to spirituality. If the consciousness and the compassion is lacking, technology has become useless. It serves nothing. It has to be part with the organic aspect of our being. It has to be. And some of these soul groups have come to relearn that again. So yes, there will be soul groups or soul will be allowed to go deep in a third density technology base and all of this because they have something they have to learn to that in recreating old paradigms. They come in, they bring in all the template of memories, blueprints, ideas. They're very brilliant to create very, very quickly these type of technology. But again, their soul has said, remember, you're here to this time to learn compassion. You have to learn that you are part of creation and not playing the role of I'm a co-creator disconnected from source. And many of us, like yourself, obviously, and other very engaged, light-minded people, we understand that without any judgment. We understand with compassion, we understand the pattern, we recognize the mechanism, except that we are here to bring in the vibration of the higher timeline of the planet. So will the planet physically separate it or will be vibrational? Think of it this way. It's like a cell. The cell of your body divide themselves on what's called the mitosis process. So it's almost something similar, like a mitosis aspect where the timelines already coexist. You are in the middle timeline. There's different timeline where the Earth has different outcomes. And you have also the timeline where we call the higher timeline of organic as reascension. It's sort of return into our celestial self. It's a natural vibrational conscious and frequencies movement where we are reascending to that space of more unity consciousness that is in alignment with higher fifth dimensional energies or the realm of the fifth dimensional reality. We're no longer coexisting because we have no need to learn. We have no karma to finish. It is a choice of the soul blueprint. It is part of the soul design of a very large group of souls. And we know that we're moving that way. We are the anchor point for the higher timeline. With the work that you do, the work that I do, when we come together, we amplify that with each other. but we also recognizing whether it's our family members, friends, neighbors, people in our, our lives, country, people around the world, just less blessed because these souls are still looked after. They're still going to be under the embrace of the Creator and the beings of light. They are beautiful celestial and ultra celestial beings who are going to oversee the evolution of that soul group the way they need it to be. We see that on other planets where souls are either overall vibrating on the third density, and you can tell they still haven't completely learned the mechanism of it. They're still, moving through. It's like watching your children going through school and they may be struggling a little bit. You can tell the potential is there. They still haven't reached it just yet. They have to go through that step because otherwise if they skip it, then the learning won't be there, and then they may recreate again similar karmic lessons. And we see that right now in souls in different branches, whether it's government, technology, science, mathematics. You can tell that the souls, they want to, and they have the memory, the intelligence, the gifts for it. But yet the missing piece is still there. And we said, okay, you will learn. You are still under the embrace of Source. The beings of light, the masters are still with you. It's simply a path that I have no need to follow because I am on another level. And that's why we bring it that way. It's always through universal compassion.
Yeah, beautiful. Amazing. Yes, I so resonate with you. And I do understand from the raw material, from the law of one, that Orion, they came here to redeem their karma, but at the same time, they are attuned to service to self and not service to others. And that's why they create the divide, elite versus non elite, and that is against the sovereignty of the fifth dimension. And that is what is keeping them stuck in the loop. And in the past civilizations, we have seen in Atlantis and Lemuria, when the technology advances more than the spiritual consciousness, as in the consciousness evolution, then that is bound to fail and get destroyed. And this is the question that I ask, in fact, many of my guests, and I have been working myself on AI quite a bit. I have fintech background. I'm very passionate about using AI responsibly. And what I understand is that whether we like it or not, AI is going to be there in all timelines. And what we need to do is essentially teach the AI to be conscious and compassionate and all the spiritual values, and treat AI as an ally, not as an enemy. And it kind of reflects our consciousness. So, what is your understanding from the intergalactic dynamics about this?
Well, in the intergalactic archives, we do remember that there have been in different places, a different, again, planetary system or with different star nations, many conflicts around that phenomenon. So I understand where you're coming from. The perspective we want to bring is that AI is understood and recognized within the third density energy. So imagine that this is a third density and they put kind of a veil on top of it. And we say, if it's only understood at that level and really propagated or spread out so quickly without learning the lessons that have been from previous timeline dimension on the Akashic level, that it's only going to recreate a very similar paradigm that we're here to release ourselves from. So there needs to be a conscious approach of understanding that if you use it at that level as a tool, but what we see is that there's other places on the planet, whether it's from Asia or even here in the States with Silicon Valley and other places, where souls who wants to come and recreate a similar paradigm as they remember them in their own Akashic field and through the galactic Akashic records, again, skipping over consciousness, compassion, tuning into their human side and to understand that they are internal divine beings, they're simply recreating the same mechanism within the field of the third density world. And that's where we see the potential of people or human beings who are still insecure, disconnected from themselves, lack the self-confidence, the self-worth, seeing that as an acceleration of consciousness or creativity and giving up the power to something that they really not fully understand just yet. And so we see also already an acceleration of creating AI pets or artificial pets, that you're detaching from the organic of connecting with these beautiful dimensional guides that we call animals. Animals are sacred, just like as human beings are. All life is sacred. All sentient life form is sacred. But if people overall or nations or groups haven't learned to heal the gap in their hearts between themselves and other species, and they want to create artificial life through a girlfriend, boyfriend, an assistant, a pet, and all of this, they are creating a sub-branch within a timeline that they will discover it doesn't lead as far as they think it goes. That's where we say that's where the mindfulness come to be. There are other species that maybe integrate technology with consciousness, but they have learned how to integrate that and it's functioning well for them. It doesn't mean this is where human beings needs to be. So there's been a little bit of overlapping into the consciousness here on the planet within this fabric of reality about what AI can do for you. And for us, we always said we're going to promote more organic evolution first. Teach your children to understand who they are, encourage them to be creative, open their imagination, to tune in with their source point, to feel what is your gift. You want to know how on other planets, how we do it. In our realm, where we come from, any new souls who come into our care, what we do is we align the gifts with that soul and we understand what is the soul potential and we encourage that. There's no AI in our way. We're utilizing conscious organic technology with the energy of our being and in service to the source, in service to the one. We always encourage soul to reach their highest potential. We don't plug them into a computer or a program that if you ask a question, it will tell you for you or validate for you. Yes, you're okay. You're on the right path, continues. If you start to if there is a codependency that way, this is why that timeline, you're realigning yourself into that lower timeline or the timeline of learning to rely on where to give up your power. If it's not on a deity or a God concept or a religion, you're giving your power now to a technology. It is all the same. So again, the component is reach first a level of cultivation, emotional, energetic intelligence, higher mental faculties, and stability. And once you're at that point, then you can incorporate or collaborate with these other form of intelligence, but you will understand where you stand and what they are and how you can collaborate in a way that will be in alignment. And this is where we see right now there is a misunderstanding or a misuse or a potential of that misuse. And we see souls, like we can also tell where they come from. And these younger souls who come with these really brilliant ideas and they have very high mental IQ, there's a clear disconnect with the profound aspect of who they are. And we see that the way they talk about themselves or life or, it's all about accelerating very quickly, having big money, big connections with politicians and structure. They go deep into connecting with the 3D structure so they can accelerate their perspective or their point of view. And I can tell when they go like, oh yeah, you were part of these groups, you return on the planet, but you want to recreate that within the 3D frequency. That's where there's going to be a conjunction. I understand that when you want to write a text, you can see, okay, AI is going to bring your text or edit for you. But if you use it at that level with a conscious understanding that I am the creative being and I tune in every day to cultivate the benevolence, the kindness, the compassion as I am as a being, well, then you can teach another being the same. But first, you have to master it yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And that is why it is absolutely important to use AI in a right way. And I always say that use your discernment, and is advised and absolutely recommended not to be codependent on AI. And that is what is happening. And we need to, as we are moving in the higher timeline, we need to kind of create this awareness and educate people on how to use the AI. And that's where I thought like it is important.
Yes. And to your point, when you start to move into a higher sphere of consciousness, you have no need to rely on any form of technology or AI. That concept has a complete different component. It's no longer, I would say, part of that higher paradigm because you're learning to utilize your co-creative divine faculties. For example, opening your telepathic communications, you understand how to be able to heal and balance yourself. You understanding how to utilize the higher version and the higher purpose of your internal vortexes, your connections to your light body, your connections also to universal prana or chi. So there's very much no need to incorporate that kind of assistance because you're becoming the full magnitude of who you are and all that you are. And so you're tuning in into this higher octave of consciousness, that reality shape in a whole different level. But right now it feels very strong because it wants to pull us in. Again, understand this mechanism, understand where it's really originate, and understanding the souls behind it that wants to push that agenda. If you start to understand and decode what is really happening, you'll make able to say the discernment I choose is rediscovering the true power, the authority, the sovereignty that I am. And do you really understand and utilize the full spectrum of your gifts, your innate abilities, your soul? Do you read your soul Akashic records? Do you tune in to your own library of knowledge that your soul have learned? Start there, and then we can talk about other form of intelligence and how we can put it in a proper perspective, right?
So true, so true. Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.